Good day everyone, especially to my Ed 101 students. So in this video, the four theories will be discussed, namely Psja, Vygotsky, Freud, and Kohlberg's theory. Let's start with Piaget's theory. So this is the proponent of the said theory, although it is spelled as Jean, so this is Jean, no? Usually we pronounce this as Jean, but this is Jean Piaget. So Jean Piaget with his theory of cognitive development. So when we say cognitive development, it's how we construct knowledge. So unsa may development sa atong thinking. So these are the basic cognitive concepts. Let's define them first. So Jean Piaget, he has this term called the schema, or the mental representation or cognitive structure. So when we say schema, it's like our description of something or the characteristics of something. So example is a child's schema about a dog. So unsa may masulti sa bata sa usa ka dog. So ang dog kuno is an animal with 4 legs, has a tail and furry. So it's how we create or how we describe something. So this is schema. Then the second concept or second term, we have the assimilation. So when we say assimilation, this is adding a new information to our schema. So adding a new information. So say for example, kung makakita og another dog ang bata. So this time, this is a smaller one. So he would add this in new information into his schema of a dog. So dog, yung previous nga description or schema no is an animal with 4 legs, has a tail and furry. So mura ni siya nabalaan, but with assimilation, kakita siya nadig gamay-gamay nga dog. So he would include another description of a dog nga vary in sizes ang dog. So gagmay nga dogs na apoy dagko nga dogs. So this is assimilation, adding a new information. Now, equilibrium, no? From the term equilibrium, so this is the person's experience fit with their schema. So proper balance ba ang atong schema? Balance ra ba? So say for example, the child sees a dog at the park and it fits their description. So an animal with 4 legs has a tail and furry. So balance ra ang iyang schema. However, there's a concept called the disequilibrium. So disequilibrium, it means not balance nga. A new experience disturbs the child's schema. So disequilibrium occurs when the child sees a cat at the park and it is also an animal with 4 legs, has a tail and furry, but it is not a dog. This upsets the schema. So disequilibrium gani kung ano po yung new information nga musulod unya not the same with our schema nga previously nga gigama. So kakita og cat ang bata sa park unya, ang cat mo maora biyag dog kay negagmay nga dogs napoy dagko nga dogs. So this would create a confusion or problem. So na not balance na ang schema sa bata. So this is what we call as disequilibrium. And then the last term, we have the accommodation. So diri na mosulod ang accommodation kung naay disequilibrium nga mahitabo. So accommodation is creating a new schema. So creating a new schema, this is accommodation. So say for example, the child sees another animal at the park that is similar to a dog but somehow different. So kakita na po another animal ang bata sa dog. So 4 legs, furry siya, naapod siya'y tail. So, he might try to fit into his schema of a dog. So, iyang ikon nga dog gihapon ni, although cat to yung nakita, no? So, munto siya'y disequilibrium, di ba? Nag-create of problem. Then, the guardian will explain. So, let's say, naikuyog nga parent, ang bata. So, i-explain nga that it is another animal and it's a cat. So, we explain ng guardian or parent nga dili na siya dog because that is a cat. So, the child will now create a new schema, that of a cat. So, diri na mo sulod si accommodation, nagama na siya, create na siya new schema, accommodation. So, so this is a cat. So, ang cat di ay, kuan siya, furry siya, na siya 4 legs, and then, dili siya mo bark, but meow siya. So, this is a cat. So, kung mo bark gani, dog na siya na bilong schema. Kung mo meow, cat na siya. So, these are the concepts or terms of Piaget's theory. Now, let's go to the soul of his theory, no? The stages of cognitive development. So, there are 4 stages of Piaget's theory. So, the first stage is the sensory motor stage. So, when we say sensory motor stage, this focuses on senses, no? Senses and motor or muscle movement. So, it's very important nga at this stage, this is from birth to infancy, no? Ang mga stage, you provide tangible materials or objects nga magunitan sa bata, nga it would enhance their senses. So, we have this term under the sensory motor stage, the object permanence, nga an object still exists even when out of sight. So, just like playing peek-a-boo, kanana, ba. So, although naa ka diri sa right side sa bata, no? And then, nibali na ka sa left side sa bata, the bata would still expect na nagihapon ka sa right side. So, an object, maski mawala na silang sight, naragihapon na. So, that's object permanence. So, again, this is from birth to infancy, ang sensory motor stage. The second stage is the pre-operational stage. So, ang range niya is from 2 to 7 years old. So, pre-operational stage, preschool years, no, or early elementary years na to. So, at this stage, children are very intuitive in nature. So, we have the term, the symbolic function. It means nga, we represent objects and events. So, say for example, Nico, a 4-year-old, turns the glass into a rocket ship or a telephone. So, iyang gigama-gama nga, kaning baso, rocket ship ni siya, or to siya gatawag-tawag. Another one, Enzo, who is 6, can do a whole Ninja Turtle routine without any costume nor props. And on the picture, you can see there, no? This is our dulaan, tong bata patab, diba? We have the pretend play, o bahay-bahayan, luto-lutuan, so ang dahon, ato ko na yung giingon nga kaning dahon, o isaw, to sino ni siya. So, we represent this dahon as objects, no? And we have our luto-lutuan, bahay-bahayan. So, this is a symbolic function. Now, another concept under this stage, we have the egocentrism, to only see his own point of view. So, at this stage, ang mga bata, egocentric kayo, no? Ug unsay sakto para nila, sila gunay sakto. Ug unsay lang nabalan, maura gunay sakto. So, the child would assume that everyone else has the same point of view. So, on the picture, the boy buys a toy for his mother's birthday. So, iyang i-give siyang mama is a toy kay siya mama niyang favorite, no? So, ga-expect po siya nga iyang mama ganahan po tagaan og toy. So, that's an example of egocentrism. So another one is the centration. This one at this stage, uluwaton kay natong mga bata, no? So centration is focusing on one aspect only. So on the first picture, because there are 3 under centration, so sa first picture, gipakita ni mong bata og duha ka baso. So same silag size, same pod og amount sa water. So pangutanon nimo ang bata, asa may mas daghan og tubig ani? So moingon ang bata nga equal na sila og kadaghanon sa tubig. However, on the second picture, imong gibalhin tong usa ka baso sa longer nga baso. Then you would ask sa bata dayon sa third picture, o karon, asa na may mas daghan og tubig ani? So ang i-point jud sa bata is, of course, katong taas, the narrower, the longer nga baso. So kanimo ni siya daghan og baso kay tubig kay mas taas man ang baso. It's because nag-focus lang ang bata sa container sa baso. So another example for centration is the paper bills versus the coins. Iba ang bata, 2 to 7 years old nga bata, imong tagaan og 100 pesos or 20 peso nga bill. Tigo na siya ganahan. But if imong tagaan og upat ka tag 5, malipay na siya kay kana daghan siya kwarta ana, no? So that is centration. And another concept under this stage, we have the irreversibility nga they cannot reverse their thinking. So ngayon kag 3 plus 2, so 5 na siya. But when you explain nga 5 minus 3 equals 2, dili na sila kasabot. So one way lang ilang thinking. And next we have animism. This one, we attribute human-like traits to objects. Again, human-like traits or characteristics to objects. So just like on the picture, you can see there nga ang friend ko no sa bata is the teddy bear. So iya po ng storyaon ng teddy bear, yung pakanon, kay lagi we attribute them nga tao po ni si teddy bear. So that's animism. Then the last one, we have the transductive reasoning. So it's not inductive nor deductive. So when we say transductive reasoning, this is from particular to particular. So if A causes B, then B causes A. So say for example sa transductive reasoning. So when asked if it is already night, so pangutanon nimong bata, gabi na ba? Ang bata po mutubag nga, gabi na kay nauli naman si mama kay everyday 6 o'clock man mauli ang iyang mama. So ang reasoning sa bata very low pa kaayo kay nangutana ka nga gabi na ba? Mutubag ra pud siya nga okay nauli naman si mama. It's because ang iyang mama di ay every 6 o'clock sa gabi mauli. So this is transductive reasoning. Going to the third stage of Piaget's theory, we have the concrete operational stage. So this is from 7 to 11 years old. So we have the concept of decentering. We are not in this term or in this stage, we are not focused to one aspect only. So we can perceive the different features of objects and situations. And we have the reversibility. So kung sa second stage, we cannot reverse our thinking, this stage, kabalo na ta nga, certain operations can be done in reverse. So, ang 3 plus 2 equals 5, ug 5 minus 3 equals 2, same ra na sila. So, gi-reverse lang, no? So, that's reversibility. Next, we have the conservation. So, we already know at this stage that certain properties of objects like number, mass, volume, or area do not change even if there is a change in appearance. So again, sa second stage, Mauwat gihapon ta nga ang tubig ibalhin sa narrower ug taas nga glass. Mingon ta nga mas daghan na siyang tubig, no? But at this stage, we already know nga si A nga baso, can refer to the picture, si A nga baso ug si C nga baso, same ra din na silang amount sa water. So this is conservation. And we have seriation nga to order or arrange things in series. So kabalo na ta mo pasunod. So from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. So this is seriation. Next, the last stage. So this is the formal operational stage. So ages 12 through adulthood. So we expect kitang tanan na taan nga stage ha. Walay nabilin pas first stage nga sensory motor stage. Dapat everyone na natadiri sa formal operational stage. However, again, there are some persons nga with problems guro, no? They are stuck at the first stage or the second stage and lang thinking na paato nga mga lowest stage. Now, in this fourth stage, we have the hypothetical reasoning because at this stage, our thinking is more logical na, no? So we can solve abstract problems at formal operational stage. So hypothetical problems, or hypothetical reasoning, so we can come up with different hypotheses about a problem. So we can deal with what if questions. And we also have the analogical reasoning or the analogy, no? Nga we can perceive the relationship in one instance to narrow down possible answers. So say for example is if United Kingdom kuno, if UK is to Europe, then Philippines is to blank. So what's the answer? So if UK is to Europe, then Philippines is to Asia. So because we are talking about the continent. So that's analogy, or we are using our analogical reasoning. Now, we also have the deductive reasoning. So from general to specific. So from wider scope to particular scope. So say for example, if kanisha, if Marie is an education student, no? If Marie is an ed major student, all education students, so all ed major students love to sing and dance. So that's our general. Marie is an education student. So therefore, Marie loves to sing and dance. So from general nga all ed students down to specific, down to Marie. So that is deductive reasoning. So that's the end of Piaget's theory with 4 stages. Now this is our second theory. So our proponent for the said theory is Vygotsky. So his theory is all about the socio-cultural theory of development. So kanikang Vygotsky, he placed importance to social interaction and culture. So ang atong thinking kuno, so develops when we interact with our environment, with our cultural factors. So there are 2 central factors in cognitive development. So according to Vygotsky, social interaction and language kuno, they play an important role in the development of our thinking. So it's like no man is an island. We need others in order for us to learn, in order for our intellect to develop. So because you already have discussed about Piaget's theory, now let's compare Piaget and Vygotsky's theory. So Piaget, his theory is more focused on the individual, diba? Because na ato'y certain ages sa bata nga modako siya. While Vygotsky, his theory, of course, focuses more on the social. So, we need others, kinahanglan ta og guardians, kinahanglan ta teachers, classmates in order for us to grow. Now, second explanation. Piaget believed that there are universal stages of cognitive development. So, si Piaget, of course, there were 4 stages of his theory, but kang Vygotsky, he did not propose stages. So, wala siya stages sa iyang theory, no? But he emphasized on the cultural factors nga. Our experiences mold our cognitive development. Now, the last one, Piaget did not give much emphasis on language, but si Vygotsky, again, he put importance on the role of language because matud pa ni Vygotsky, when we communicate, we reflect one's thinking. So, these are the differences, the comparison of Piaget and Vygotsky's theory because almost the same time man sila go-work sa ilang theory. Now, we have the zone of actual development of Vygotsky's theory, so the ZAD. So, ang zone of actual development, this is the time nga a child performing a skill alone at a certain level of competence. So, when we say zone of actual development, katuning wala pa kagi-train, wala pa kagitudluan sa imong mentor or sa imong peer, no? So, before pa kaani gi-train or gitudluan nila. So, that's our zone of actual. So, actual development. Now, we have the zone of proximal development or the ZPD. So, this is the difference between what a child can accomplish alone and what he can accomplish with the guidance of a more knowledgeable other. So, si more knowledgeable other or si MKO, so this could be our teacher, our parents, or our peers or classmates. So, competent adult ba or a more advanced peer nga maoy mutudlo, maoy mo train nato. So, muna si more knowledgeable other. Now, we have the term scaffolding. So, wengon gani mo scaffolding, automatic Vygotsky na gud na nga theory. So, because diri man ni known si Vygotsky sa iyang scaffolding. So, when we say scaffolding, so this is the support or assistance that you give to the child so that he can accomplish the task independently. So, if maglisod ang bata, you scaffold the bata. So, but scaffolding, this is not you who is doing the task, but instead the child. Kung ikaw may gihimo sa task, dili ang bata. So, that's not scaffolding. Kaya scaffolding, igo ra ka ni assist sa bata, dili ikaw mismo maoy ni gama. So, say for example sa bike, so igo ra ka ni tigbalan sa bata, dili jud ikaw mismo maoy ga bike, no? So, ang bata maoy ga work independently. Sa next picture, second picture, so ang bata dili kabalo mo butang sa straw sa iyang drink. So, ikaw igo ra ka mo guide sa bata padulong sa hole sa iyang drink. Dili jud ikaw mismo maoy mubutang sa straw. So, you let the child put the straw on the hole. So, that's scaffolding. Then the third picture is buttoning of his or her dress, no? So, ikaw igo ra ka, when you use scaffolding, igo ra ka mo button sa first button, no? Or imong i-guide iyang kamot nga inanion pag button. And then you let the child button ang tanang butoni sa iyang dress. So that's scaffolding. Again, scaffolding is purely assistance or support lang. So this is the diagram of Vygotsky's theory. So diri na to explain, no? So let's start with the actual level. So this one, the actual level. So our actual level, this is the zone of actual development. So this is the level that the learner achieves when alone. So diri ang bata nga wala pa nimo siya gi-train, wala pa nimo siya gi-assist. So this is our actual level. And then dito na ka mo pasulod sa imong instruction with scaffolding. So you assisted him, you instructed him. Then he would reach the potential level. So this level, this is the level that the learner achieves with the assistance of the MKO or the more knowledgeable other. So after nimo siya gi-scaffold, of course, he would reach his potential level. And then this one, these blue lines, this is the zone of proximal development. Again, zone of proximal development, diba? Difference between sa actual level o sa potential level. So this is the zone of proximal development. So along the way, diri ang learning sa bata. So after nimo siya gi-scaffold, he or she would learn something. So that's Vygotsky's theory in his diagram. So balik lang ko, no? So ang process of scaffolding, there are 4 processes, no? So say for example, unsaon pag-scaffold sa usa ka student teacher para sa iyang teaching demonstration. So first process sa scaffolding is I do, you watch. So I do, you watch. So ang teaching demo is naman ay mentor, no? So mo-observe ra ang bata, ang student teacher sa iyang mentor. So while ga-demo ang iyang mentor, while ga-do ang mentor, ning watch ra pod ang student teacher. Then second process is I do, you help. So this time, while ga-demo ang mentor, gipa-help ni mentor si student teacher. So tabang-tabang diri, tabang og patapot sa visuals, or tabang og paggama sa mga activities. So third process of scaffolding is you do, I help. So this time, ang student teacher na maoy pa-demo ni mentor, but this time mo help ra pud ang mentor. So i-help, i-guide na siya, i-scaffold ra siya. Then the last part is you do, I watch. So this is the last process, no nga. You do, I watch. So this time, ang student teacher na alone mo ga-demo, mo ga-teach sa mga bata, igo na lang ga observe si mentor. So this is Vygotsky's theory, the socio-cultural development. This is Vygotsky's theory. Going to our third theory, this is Sigmund Freud's theory with his stages of psychosexual development and psychoanalytic theory, how our personality develops. When I'm going to discuss with this theory, please be open-minded with some concepts or terms. Let's start. So, in his stages of psychosexual development, let's define some concepts or terms lang ha. So, Freud has this erogenous zone. So, when we say erogenous zone, these are the specific pleasure areas. So, in every stage sa iyang theory, there are pleasure areas. And we also have the term fixation. So, when we say fixation, if the needs are not met in each stage, so mo-occur ni si fixation. So, these are the behaviors, no? Fixation are the behaviors that will occur when a person grows up if dili satisfy ang iyang needs in each stage. So the first stage of Freud's theory, we have the aural stage from birth to 18 months. So when we say aural stage, we put everything in our mouth to satisfy us, diba? Mga bata, maski chinilas, maski ballpen, kanon guna, kitkiton guna. It's because they find it satisfying to eat anything. Basta kayo sa mangutang silang baba, malipay na sila diha. So our erogenous zone, again, our pleasure area for this stage is our mouth. So our mouth. So ang fixation, diba? When too much or too little satisfaction at this stage, again, too much na sobraan or wala po ka na satisfy at this stage, there are fixation. So we have the first fixation, the oral receptive. So first fixation, we have the oral receptive. So oral receptive, so inigdako na to, there is a strong tendency to smoke, drink alcohol, or overeat. So again, if dili masatisfy ang imong needs during this stage, inigdako nimo, pwede ka mahimong oral receptive. Kusog mo sigarilyo, kusog mo inom, or kusog mo kaon. So again, diri din nino si oral stage. Then we also have oral aggressive, nga he bites his nails, use curse words, or gossip. Again, if too much or too little satisfaction at the oral stage, pwede ka mahimong oral aggressive, inigdako nimo ng mga taong magkit-kit sa ilang kuko, no? Maski dagko na, or masig pamalikas, or magsig panglibak. So these are the fixation in this stage, the oral stage. Now the second stage, we have the anal stage. So 18 months to 3 years. Ang atong pleasure area, we have the anus, of course, atong lubot, diba? So at this stage, the child finds satisfaction in eliminating and retaining feces. So, ang atong satisfaction at this stage is kanang malibang, paggawa sa atong tae. So, very critical, very crucial ang toilet training at this stage, diba? Very struggle kayo sa parents or sa guardians ang palibangon ang bata. Okay, imong palibangon ang bata, dili malibang. Kung di po ingon po nimo ayaw kalibang ha, malibang po. So this is the struggle or the problem at this stage because ang satisfaction nato diri is with our anus. So ang fixation nato diri at this stage, again, too much or too little satisfaction, it would lead to fixation. We have the anal retentive, so obsession with cleanliness, perfection, and control. So, inigdako sa bata gani if nasubraan ra kahigpit, nasubraan ra ka-control or ka-toilet training, potty training ang bata, it would result to being anal retentive. Ano mga OC, di ba? Masuko kung dili arrange ang ilang mga gamit. Masuko kung dili nimo gibutang ilang things, nabali na spikas, masuko na sila. It's because they are obsessed with cleanliness and perfection. So, mga anal retentive. And the opposite is the anal expulsive. Katong mga hugawan, mga messy and disorganized. It's because ini anal expulsive nga fixation, maybe wala nimo na train ang bata. Pasagdaan ra nimo at this stage, pasagdaan ra nimo maski asa malibang, no? Di ra po nimo buyagon, wala ra po nimo gi-potty training. So it would result to anal expulsive nga hugawan, dili kabalo manglimpyo sa ilang butang or sa ilang surroundings. So this is anal stage. Now, the third stage, this is phallic stage from 3 to 6 years old. The third stage, we have the phallic stage. This is from 3 to 6 years old. So remember nga at this stage, ang mga bata kusog kayo magdulag bahay-bahayan, no? Pamilya-pamilyahan. So, ako si papa, ikaw si mama, or ako si mama, ikaw si papa, ako may anak. So this stage, muguni sigig dulaon, no? So the pleasure area or the erogenous zone is our genitals. So be open-minded, ha? So during this stage, children become interested in what makes boys and girls different. So nagani uban no, mga batang mga lalaki kasagara no nga they would show their genitals, no? Muni siya, uy, ilang dula-dulaan gani ang uban. So it's because at this stage, ang satisfaction is playing with the genitals. So muni siya phallic stage. So boys develop unconscious sexual desire for their mother, and Freud called it Oedipus complex. So this is a Greek gani na to, mythology, di ba? If you have known this, we have the Oedipus complex. Ang mga bata, they would think as their father nga rival nila no, kay niibog sila sa ilang mama nga sila rin dapat mo love sa ilang mama. So again, that's unconscious sexual desire. So that's normal for this stage sa mga bata nga magselo-selo sa ilang papa. So this is Oedipus complex or Oedipus complex. On the other hand, girls also develop unconscious sexual desire for their father, and it is called as Electra complex. So if ang lalaki to their mother, that's the Oedipus or Oedipus complex. Ang bayi pud maibog to their father, that's Electra complex. So ang fixation at this stage, so too much or too little satisfaction could result to sexual deviances. So masubraan ba mo sexual activities or mo avoid kag sexual activities. And another fixation is weak or confused sexual identity. So maglibog kag unsa man jud ko, who am I, what am I. So yan, at this stage, this is very crucial and this is very important. Next stage, this is the fourth stage. There are 5 stages man of Freud's theory. Now this is the latency stage, so 6 to puberty. So at this stage, there are no erogenous zones, so wala tay pleasure area. It's because sexual urges remain repressed. So this is the quiet stage, no? The silent, na silent ang atong pleasure area at this stage. It's because we are more focused into physical and academic skills. So we excel mostly in our class, ngita tag mga friends, we also have our hobbies, no? So makabalot ang sa atong likes, so sa atong dislikes. So more on sports, more on studying, more on tuntuon, more on making friends. So this is the latency stage. And the last stage, we have the genital stage. So when we say genital stage, ang atong pleasure area, of course, same lang with phallic stage, this is our genital. So again, sexual urges are awakened. So this is the exploration stage. Students, nanan mo ani nga stage, di ba? Nanatatanan ani nga stage, genital stage. So this is very critical. So walay mag-experiment ninyo, ha? So again, be a responsible individual. Okay, for us to remember the stages ni Freud, no? So let's make an acronym. So this is the acronym para dili ta malimot unsa ganitong stages ni Freud gani sa iyang theory, 5 man to kabuok na unsa ganito una, no? So this is the acronym. So atong mag-acronym si Freud. So si Freud ay OA phallic. So nagani mangutana gani maestra, what are the 5 stages of Freud's theory? So mingon din ka, ma-recall din ka, si Freud kay OA phallic man kay to si Freud. So OA phallic, it would stand for O, oral, A, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. So si Freud ay OA phallic. So in order na ang stages ni Freud. Now let's proceed to his psychoanalytic theory, or how our personality develops. So there are 3 components sa atong personality. So these are id, dili na siya ID ha. So that's id, ego, and super ego. So the first component of our personality, so this is the first to develop. This is our id, our pleasure principle. So pleasure principle. So kaning nga personality si id, we want our gratification or needs to be done now. So immediate gratification or satisfaction of its needs. So this personality, this component of our personality, so this is our impulsive side, no? Muintag, I want it now. Unsa kong ganahan, dapat karon na mahatag. So kani siya, si id mo ay ga-control nato. So nothing else matters to the id except the satisfaction of its own needs. So, bahala na magkinaunsa basta kay ma-satisfy ang akong needs. So, on the picture, no? Ang bata, gigutom siya. So, bahalag nakatulog ka si mama o si papa basta kay I want food. So, its id, if its id wants food or milk, so hilak ko diha. Bahala pag busy mo basta kay akong id ganahan ko mukaon, ganahan ko mainom og milk. So, the id speaks up until her needs are met. So, that's our impulsive side. Oh, another one na you could all relate. So, si Shopee, no? Si 11-11. Nag-sale. Although walay kwarta, niningon si id nga, palitan na, basta kay ma-happy ka, paliton dayon. Although wala sa budget. So, that's your id speaking to you. So, be careful with your id. Not all the time. Or ayaw jud ipairal si id. Okay, next component of our personality, we have the ego. So, this is the reality principle. So, si ego, this is the balancer. So, si ego, kabalo ni siya mo balance. Kabalo siya mo lantaw unsay reality. So, this is the deciding agent of the personality because ego says nga others also have needs to be met. So ego considers the society or our environment. So muna siya balancer nato. So an example would be in this scenario, no, nga Anne really wanted to borrow her mom's ring but knew her mom would be angry if she took it without asking. So she asked her mom if she could wear it. So, si Anne, ganan ka siya mahulam sa singsing sa iyang mama. So, kung si id pa imong ipairal, ako na, diretso ay nagpanangid sa iyong mama. Basta kay ma-happy ka, ma-satisfy ka nga, nakasuot ka sa iyong singsing. But si ego would speak up and say nga, ayaw, pananghid sa imong mama. Kay, dapat man, makaibalo ka nga, napoy needs, napoy opinions ang imong mama. So, this is ego. Then the last personality is our morality principle. This is super ego. So this is likened to our conscience because kabalo siya unsay right or wrong. So this is our ideal, no? Which is close to perfection. So super ego, ideal, close to perfection, and values nga atong mga nakatunan. So super ego nga scenario. So, Chris found a wallet while going home. He can now buy a bicycle using those money. So, kita siya pitaka, pauli siya. Unya, kabalo na mo nga, nauso karon ang bike. So, kapalit namang good bike ning kwartaha. However, his teacher reminded their class about the importance of honesty. So, kauna-una na siya nga, ako na gud ning ipalit uguan. Bike, sign na ni nga, kapalit na ko bike. So, he immediately went to a barangay hall nearby and gave the wallet. So, iyang gihatag sa barangay captain. So, iyang ipairal ang iyang super ego. So, if si id pa'y gipairal, gidiritso guha ang kwarta. So, but si super ego man, so he decided to return it kay his values are speaking up. So this is the ideal thing to do. Let's apply the 3 personality components. So we have this example scenario, no nga, how is id going to react? How about ego? How about superego? So the scenario is you were invited to a party this coming Sunday. However, you need to study for the finals on Monday. So let's say today is Friday. So Friday na karon unya nay party karong Sunday, but finals week na ninyo, final exam na on Monday. So if your id will overrule, how is he going to react? How about your ego? How about your super ego? Now let's see. So this is you trying to make a decision if unsa man sa tulo ka personality components ang imong gamiton. So id would say, so the evil parts, id, no? So go to the party. Forget about studying and your finals. The most important thing is you will enjoy and have fun. It's because si id nga ganan siya isatisfy iyang needs, so isatisfy no matter what the consequences are. However, here comes our super ego, ang atong angel. So he would say, do not attend to that party. You can get drunk and do inappropriate things. Good girls act properly. It's because our super ego is our ideal side, no? Our values, close to perfection. So yun siya nga. Ayaw adto dito kay kanang mo attend ang mga party katura ng mga walay mga lingaw sa ilang kinabuhi. So you have to study, and good girls should act properly sa mga values, mga morals. So that's our super ego. And here is our balancer, si ego. So ego would butt in and say, yes, you can attend the party, but you have to study first. Be a responsible individual at the party. So si ego is i-balance niya ang decision ni id ug ni super ego. So it's because our ego is the reality. So he would say, or a personality would say nga, a realidad naman guna nga we should go to parties, we should enjoy for some other time, or we should reward ourselves. But first, magtuon sa ako, usa ka mo adto sa party. Kung dili ka magtuon, dili po ka adto sa party. And if naa na ka dito sa party, be a responsible individual. So dili maghubog-hubog or dili magpasulabi og inom. So that's our id, ego, and super ego. Always remember nga not all the time, or ayaw jud ipairal pirmi si id. So, but of course, think about your super ego and your balancer, which is your ego. So, makakos good sa tanang away, sa tanang kagubot is if atong ipairal ang atong id. Kohlberg stages of moral development. So, according to Kohlberg, no, our ability to choose right from wrong is tied with our ability to understand and reason logically. So, how do we reason morally if naay mga problems, naay mga scenario nga atong ma-encounter? So, in his theory, there are 3 levels with 6 stages. So, in each level, there are 2 stages. So, let's start with the first level with stages 1 and 2. The pre-conventional level, age range, toddler to 9 years old. So, our moral reasoning is purely based on the consequence or result of the act, not on whether the act itself is bad or good. So the first stage, so stage 1, unsaon nato pag or unsa man mo reason morally ang toddler to 9 years old. So using stage 1, punishment or obedience. One is motivated by the fear of punishment. He will act in order to avoid punishment, and also he will act in order to have a reward or to gain a reward. So punishment or obedience. So sample scenario for this stage. So nakabuak kag baso. Sultihan nimo imong mama nga nakabuak ka og baso or dili. So, applying this stage, if stage 1 ang imong gamiton sa imong moral reasoning, of course, dili ko ka musulti nga, nakabuak kag baso for you to avoid punishment. So, dili ra ko moingon nga nakabuak ko o baso. So, that's punishment. Using obedience, no? Obedience. So, obedience is giving a reward. So, the child behaves properly to get a star stamp. So, naminaw kag maayo sa teacher, wala ka gapabuyag, kay ganahan ka makagain og reward, and that's the star stamp. So, stage 1, this is the lowest level of our moral reasoning. So, kani nga mga moral reasoning naara ni sa toddler to 9 years old. However, there are some people nga 20 years old na ang edad, but still they are applying stage 1 no, sa ilang moral reasoning. Now, let's proceed to the second stage, which is the mutual benefit. So, one is motivated to act by the benefit that one may obtain later. So, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So, in this stage, ang moral reasoning nato diri is exchange. Makaginansya ko, makaginansya po ka. So, equal rata, pareha ratang makakuha og ginansya. So, example, uy, pakupyahan ko sa math B, pakupyahon pag bitaw tikaw sa English. So, that's mutual benefit. So, mo pa-answer ka niya sa math, imo po siyang tagaan og answer niya sa English. So, kamong duha ang naka-benefit. Now, the second level, we have the conventional level. So, 9 to 20 years. So, most of you na belong na ani nga level, no? So, let's see. Unsa man ni si conventional level? So, moral reasoning is based on the conventions or norms of the society. So, unsa may naa sa society nga imong gigadakuan, unsa naa sa imong environment. So, this may include approval of others, law, and order. So, number 3, social approval. So, stage 3, or this is also known as the good boy, good girl. So, the person acts because he values how he will appear to others. So, social approval. So, you want to be appreciated by the society. So, imong moral reasoning, imong mga act, it's because ganahan ka i-praise sa society. So, say for example, si Joy, iyang gipakopyag assignment ang iyang mga classmates so that they will think she is kind. So, gapakopya ka kay rin buutan kina siya. Bright na gani, buutan pagod. So, social approval. Another one, nakakita kag wallet sa dalanon, daghag kwarta. Yung imong iuli kay haron inon nga, honest ka nga pagkatao. So, ang imong pag-uli sa kwarta, that is not an act of love, not an act of honesty, but ganahan na ka nga, i-praise ka sa society nga, ni imo jung giuli ang kwarta. So, some of the celebrities, no, they are under this stage, ang uban, no, kay they just want a good image to the public. So, moral reasoning, stage 3, social approval. Now, stage 4, law and order. So, one is motivated to act in order to uphold law and order. So, the person will follow the law because it is the law. So, under this stage, ning follow ra ka sa law, wala ni mo gi-inculcate sa imong mind and sa heart, it's because mo man na siya, law ra man na siya, so dapat ta i-follow. So, say for example, ga-helmet ka while ga-motor, kay mo man na siya naa sa law, or else madakpan man ka, no? So, wala ka ga-helmet for your protection, but ga-helmet ka kay mo man na siya law, ni follow ra ka sa law. Another one, ni suot or wearing of your ID inside the campus. So, ngano man kang ga-wear og ID inside sa campus? Ma'am, kay dili man yung pasudon sa guard. Ni follow ra pod ko sa rules sa university nga dapat mag-wear og ID. So wala ka ga-wear og ID kay ganahan na ka nga mo man ni siya sakto nga buhaton kay responsible man ko nga student, so I should wear an ID. But no, you're wearing your ID, it's because you're just following the law. So that's stage 4, law and order. And the last level, this is the highest level. So this is the post-conventional level. So moral reasoning is based on the principles. So at this level, no, few people lang ang maka-reach sa ilang moral reasoning at this stage. Okay, this is the highest moral reasoning, highest level. So stage 5 is the social contract. So laws that are wrong can be changed. One will act based on social justice and the common good. So social contract, very kuan nga example for this one is kanang mga civic action group, mga rallyista, kanang mga mag-protest. It's because they cannot understand if makaayo ba ni nga law or regulation nato, no? So they will act based on social justice. So unsa may nakaayo sa tanan for the common good. And the last stage, the highest stage, again gamay na lang og kayong tawo makaabot ani nga stage, which is the universal principles. So universal principles, this is mainly based on our conscience, no? Having a set of standard that drives one to possess moral responsibility to make societal changes regardless of, again, regardless of consequences of oneself. So, famous mga well-known example ani nga stage, silang Mother Teresa, silang Martin Luther King, they would sacrifice themselves for the others, no? Willing sila ikuan ang ilang self for the others. But in some cases, say for example, katong nakakita kag wallet, no? Nakakita kag wallet nga daghag kwarta. So if si social approval, again social approval ang imong ipairal, ganan ra kay iuli kay ganahan kay i-pray sa society. But if nakakita kag wallet and you want to return that one, kay ang imong moral reasoning is naa ni stage 6 universal principles. So niuli ka og wallet because it's the right thing to do. Kay imong gipairal nga values nimo ang imong giuna. So again, hopefully maabot ta ani or every cases, every problem, every decisions that we have to make, dapat ang atong moral reasoning daino kay dapat naa ni stage 6 universal principles. So if you might ask, ma'am, pwede ba nga 20 years old na ko unya akong moral reasoning na gihapon ni stage 1? Yes. There are some cases nga ato ipairal is mahadlot tag punishment or ganahan na ta makagain og reward or mutual benefit. So parihaan na let's say for example gatuon ka. So if imong gipairal gatuon ka, it's because umuni siya right thing to do. So you are using stage 6. But 20 years old na ka, gatuon ka kay para lang mapalitan ka og iPhone ni mama. So you're applying or your moral reasoning is under pa sa stage 1. So that this is Kohlberg's theory.